Welcome to another episode of Seeing Them Live, a podcast featuring memorable concert stories from live music fans. Everyone has a concert story, and hopefully, one day, we'll hear yours. Do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us what you do for a living, where you work?
I go to school.
Okay. Where at?
I'm not telling you where I go to school.
Today's guest is my daughter, Lily Zona. Lily, welcome to Seeing Them Live.
Thanks. Hi.
Yeah, that recording we just played for everybody was my first ever podcast recording, which was a test episode for one of my first assignments in this podcasting course I was taking. And at that point, I believe you were 11 years old and you had never been to a concert. So your mom and I were wondering what your first concert experience would be. And eventually you saw Harry Styles live in Lisbon, Portugal.
Yeah.
But the story is as much about seeing your first concert as it is about persevering and trying to get this passport that was very difficult to obtain. And we'll get into that a little bit here as well, because you needed, obviously, we're in the Chicago area and you needed a passport in order to go out to Portugal to see Harry, and you had never had a passport. So, Lily, let's start talking about when you first became interested in Harry Styles' music. I mean, when we did that recording, were you into him then? I know your mom kind of introduced you to him, sort of, right?
Yeah, I think during COVID, because she played Fine Line a lot, his second album, which kind of got me hooked onto his music.
Okay, yeah, I remember we were getting dinner ready and stuff, just kind of listening to his music. And then his album came out eventually, Harry's House, and then he went on this really extensive tour, right, for that album.
Yeah, because his album Fine Line, the tour for Fine Line was interrupted by COVID, so he had to cancel the tour. And then right after that, he released Harry's House. So it was kind of like a double tour in a way.
Okay. Yeah. And he did come around to play the United Center in Chicago, which I did try to get tickets to the show. As I don't know if you recall, but when I was served up the tickets at Ticketmaster, I wasn't expecting to get into this area called Johnny's Place, which the way Harry's stage was set up, that was basically the pit, right?
Yeah.
So these tickets were super expensive. They were like $525 each. That did not include the Ticketmaster fees at the time, which now they include all the fees up front. So the total was going to be over $1,700 to get 3 tickets. At the time, I wasn't used to paying those kind of prices for concert tickets. So I jumped out of line and I blew the whole thing off, which I felt bad about because I kind of panicked. I don't know if I would have gotten different seats or what have you. So as time went on, we all listened to Harry's House like almost every day, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of started to feel bad about that decision that I made to not get those tickets at the United Center. So I thought, well, because of COVID, we hadn't been on a vacation in a while. And so I got this idea to go see Harry somewhere else. And he was touring Europe at the time then. This was in late spring of 2023, which we decided to go to Lisbon, Portugal, because that seemed like the easiest place to go and see him, and we'd never been there. So I started the process, and so did your mom, of getting you this passport, right? Which you guys went to the post office.
Yeah, we went there a lot.
You get the application for the passport, and we basically sent it off. The only hitch was I had to work that day. This was a Saturday, so I had to fill out this form, which is called a DS 3053 form. And not to bore everybody, but that's a form that you fill out if you're not present while you're filling out this passport information at the post office to certify that you're the legal guardian of this person who's a minor in this case, and it has never had a passport. And so you have to fill out this form, which I did. So around the beginning of May, I bought the round trip tickets to Lisbon. And around May 3rd, actually on May 3rd, we get this notice that your passport has been received by the passport agency. I also had to renew my passport, and I had sent my application in a couple weeks after you did. and my passport application was received by May 15th. So May 3rd, yours gets received. May 15th, mine gets received by the passport agency. And on May 9th, I ordered 3 Harry Styles tickets off of StubHub for the concert. So on June 15th, I receive my passport, but yours still was not received. And so about June 21st in the afternoon, we receive this email that says your passport application has been denied because it was not properly notarized. And of course, the whole process takes about 7 to 9 weeks, they were saying. And we were going to be running up close against this window of time as it was. So we basically fill out the form again, go to the bank, get the application notarized again, and send it overnight back to the passport agency, which they received it the next day. So less than 24 hours had lapsed. So yeah, these tickets arrive from StubHub, and they're basically on what's called the front pitch at this place called Paseo Martimo de Auges, which I know I probably butchered the pronunciation of that in Portuguese, but it basically means the seafront promenade on the body of water called Algae. So we get the tickets, but still no passport. So basically, from that point on, I'm checking with the passport agency pretty much every day to get the status of your passport, to the extent that I would wear shirts that had pockets on the front so that I could put my phone in there and have the phone on speaker and listen to the awful music that they have for hold. And they're open for about 6 hours. And I was able to get through twice in a 6 hour period to ask about your passport, which they kept saying they're working on it. They're working on it. So as time wears on into July, then we start going into July. My wife, your mom, comes down with COVID. So this is like July 6th. And we were supposed to leave on July 12th to go to the concert, but obviously we can't leave because you don't have your passport. So I canceled the airline tickets, which were for July 12th, because the idea was we were going to go see Portugal, Lisbon, for a week and then cap off our trip with the Harry concert. So it was going to be like one of the very last things we did on the trip. So I had to cancel the flight, and around July 13th, we get a second letter from the passport agency. This time it was not emailed, it was sent via snail mail, which I don't understand why. And it said your application for your passport was on hold again because of the DS 3053 form was improperly notarized. So, in a bit of a panic, because I have these tickets, I don't know if we're going to actually be able to go. I went to the library, which I would highly recommend people go to the library for your passport application. They're very helpful. They help you fill things out. And that's where I had done mine. And I got mine within a few weeks, actually. So I talk to the librarian. I meet with her, and she looks at our DS 3053 form. This is the one the passport agency sent me. And she points out that it's an outdated form. It's the 2016 version of the form. And my mind was kind of blown. Like, how could the passport agency send me this 2016 version, which was the email attachment the first time? And then they finally, I guess, sent me the correct one via snail mail the second time. So we went to the bank again and got it notarized and sent this form in. But time had kind of run out, right, Lily?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was really close to the day.
Yeah, the concert was what, July 18th? And so this was July 14th, which was a Friday. And we sent the form off, but of course, we have to leave on Monday to get to Portugal by Tuesday to see Harry that night. And so we sent this form in on the 14th. I pretty much knew that we weren't going to get this thing turned around in time. So I put up the Harry Styles tickets for sale on StubHub to get rid of them. And in the meantime, people have been telling me all along to contact my local politicians, senators, state representative, and tell them what's going on. So I actually did that. And I sent our state representative, Sean Caston, an email talking about all this stuff, the outdated form, et cetera, et cetera. And I didn't think anything would come of it. I thought it would just go into this bureaucratic black hole. But they responded to me and said they're going to work on it. But without this form, I was not hopeful because they weren't gonna receive it till Monday morning, and we were gonna have to leave by then. So that Friday, Lily, you went on the passport agency's website, right?
Yeah, it was late at night.
Yeah, this was late at night. We'd gone out to dinner. We were super bummed out. We weren't gonna go see Harry. So you grab my phone and you check the status of my passport.
Mhm.
Which of course said it had been shipped, which I knew. I said, "Yeah, I've got mine, but we want yours." So then you entered your information on the website, and what happened?
I saw that it said shipped, so yeah.
Yeah, and I said, like, "No, you must be looking at mine because they weren't gonna receive this form until Monday." But then I looked at your phone and I was like, "Oh my god, it's shipped." So I took down the tickets off of StubHub, and it also said there was a tracking number, and we tracked it, and it was gonna be delivered Monday morning.
Yeah.
So the concert is Tuesday night. And so we booked the airline tickets again Saturday morning. Your mom called UPS and said, "We will come to the facility Monday morning and pick up the package. So don't put it on a truck." So, yeah, Monday morning, we got your passport
Yeah.
and went off to Portugal mid afternoon from a flight from Chicago to Philadelphia. And then we went from Philadelphia to Lisbon. So I have to believe that emailing the state representative had something to do with them releasing your passport because at that point, they did not have the new notarized form in order to process it. So I would imagine that's how it was released. I guess we'll never know. So we get there, we're super jet lagged. It was a long trip,
A long flight.
a long flight, a long month, not knowing whether or not we are going to go see Harry. But we land in Portugal Tuesday morning. So we head off to the stadium, right? So you want to talk about that a little bit, Lily?
Sure. Well, we were in the hotel and then we go to a cab or Uber.
Yeah, it was the cab. At the hotel we were staying at, there was like a cab stand and there were lots of cabs there. So yeah, we grabbed a cab.
And we take the cab, and then, I don't know, maybe like a mile away from the venue, like I see these two girls. One's riding a scooter, or actually, no, they were both riding a scooter, and they had like this pink feather boa, and it was blowing in the wind. And I knew they were going to the concert. And then the closer and closer we got let out of the cab, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes away from the venue, but we saw there were a ton of people there, like walking to the venue. I remember specifically there was this guy. He was in an all silver jumpsuit. He had silver heels on and it was all sparkly. Yeah.
Yeah, because there were so many people. This place holds 60,000 people. And we were, as I'd mentioned before, our tickets were on what was called the front pitch. So it was like a patch of grass, fairly large. There was a rear area that was fairly large, and then the pits were up front. That Johnny's place was up there, and the stage kind of came out in the middle, out into the crowd where Harry would usually play Matilda acoustically, I think. Lily, was he always do that acoustic guitar, maybe?
I think so. He'd always go up with his band to the end of the catwalk and his whole band would be there too.
Yeah. So the cab driver had to let us off because the crowd was so huge. He said, "I can't go any farther," and they let us off. And so we walked. And we got there just as Wet Leg was wrapping up their set. So we heard a couple of their songs at the end of that set. And then we took some pictures. I think you bought your first concert t shirt there
Yeah.
and went to the show. So what was that like walking up there and walking into that whole environment? Is that what you were expecting or how did you feel?
I was kind of expecting like for it to be more like an airport, but it was actually like a very chill like environment. I remember walking up there. Wet Leg was playing and I remember you got waters for me and mom.
Yeah.
And then the show started playing, the big screen.
I was going to mention just a little bit before that because I don't know if I've ever experienced this before. They play music before a band comes on. There's just random songs that maybe are picked by the artist or whomever. And Bohemian Rhapsody was playing by Queen. And I would say the entire crowd were singing that song. It was nuts. Yeah, 60,000 people singing Bohemian Rhapsody. So then they stop the music and then these little birds start chirping, right?
Yeah, and these houses start like going across the screen with like little faces. There were birds.
Yeah.
They had Big Ben and the Eiffel Tower up there.
Yeah, it was kind of like a cartoon. and the band's warming up. You can hear the horns playing and stuff, and they kind of come out on stage. We'd seen pretty much every Harry Styles concert on YouTube leading up to that a few hours after he was done playing, right, Lily?
Yeah.
There would be like either video of an entire concert shot by one person or these stitched together videos that kind of made up the entire time.
Yeah, like the highlights of the concert.
Right. Yeah. So you would watch those quite a bit. And we kind of knew what to expect, but being there live with 60,000 people and the energy and the crowd was really cool. And then as the band is tuning up, they start playing these passages by this philosopher, Alan Watts. It's like an audio piece. Let's give that a listen.
This sensation of being a separate, lonely individual is a hallucination. You are the Big Bang, the original force of the universe coming on as whoever you are.
And so when he says this sensation of being a lonely individual is a hallucination, and then he goes on to say, you are the Big Bang, the original force in the universe, coming on as whoever you are. And that was a big part of Harry's message, right?
Yeah, like be who you want to be. I know at a lot of concerts he would say, be who you want to be tonight. Like be here in this moment, whoever you are, whoever you want to be.
Yeah, and to me, the show was designed as an experience, not just a concert. He was really connecting with the audience. So then, after they play that intro of Alan Watts, Harry comes out, and what did he open up with, Lily?
Living in a daydream.
Yeah. And so we're outside, we're jet lagged. It's what, about 80 degrees, would you say?
Yeah.
Beautiful out. The wind is blowing pretty significantly. It's humid.
Yeah.
And it's just like this awesome summer day because we hadn't really slept and because we were so stressed out, at least for me, I couldn't believe we were there. So when he starts playing Living in a Daydream, he name checks the city. So
Yeah.
let's listen to that. Okay. So how cool was that when he did that, Lily?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Hi, this is Charles Zona, and we're glad you are enjoying this episode of Seeing Them Live. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast, please fill out the form on our website at seeingthemlive.com. Also, if you like the show, please give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And now, back to the show. I literally could not believe I was standing there after everything we had been through with your passport. So that was a great concert, and there were a couple of surprises, right? One of them was Wet Leg. They came out and played a couple songs with Harry, right?
Yeah, they did.
And then we also got to see a preview of one of Harry's videos, right? Before it was released.
Yeah, Daylight. I think at the end of the song they did like a little clip. If you haven't seen the music video, it's just Harry being shot out of a cannon.
And like a big yellow bird. They showed like a few seconds of that video and people went crazy because it hadn't been released yet.
Hmm.
They released it after the concert. So those were some kind of cool surprises. Did you enjoy it, Lily? Was it everything you thought it was going to be?
Yeah, one of my favorite parts was the song Matilda because he went out on the catwalk and I remember there were like a ton of heart balloons and they were like blowing in the air. And we were like a little farther back from the stage. We were just kind of sitting there enjoying the music. I don't think it's that long of a song, but it kind of just like felt longer. Like the moment was like nicely like stretched out. I think it might have been Late Night Talking when he came into like our section by the stage. and he was really like connecting with the audience, like by us. I swear I made eye contact with him. That was gonna be biased, but yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, and it was all general admission, and everybody was super cool. Like there was no pushing or anything, and people were asking if you wanted to come up closer by the stage and stuff. And the tickets were significantly cheaper there. I mean, yeah, granted, we didn't have a seat, but still, the price for all three tickets was a little bit more than one of those pit tickets at the United Center. So a huge price difference in tickets. But would you give anybody who's like 12 years old or so advice of going to their first concert? Do you have any words of wisdom?
Honestly, just have fun. It's an amazing experience. If you're seeing your favorite artist, really, I'd say like connect with the crowd. I know Harry, he was kind of like, I don't know, maybe like thinking about the crowd's energy, you know?
Okay. Because then you've since been to some other concerts other than this Harry Styles concert, right? And another huge general admission concert you went to was Lollapalooza 2025 to see Olivia Rodrigo, right?
Yeah, that was really fun because I remember, Joe Carey, who's Steve from Stranger Things.
Yeah.
He was singing, I don't know what song it is, but I think like just back in Chicago, and we were all sitting like underneath this tree. We didn't really like see him playing because we weren't like in the crowd, but we were kind of just listening to him, and he was like right before Olivia Rodrigo. So that was really cool. So once he finished, we like think went to the bathroom, and then we went to go stand in the crowd to wait for her to play.
Yeah, because there were so many people there, you couldn't really get close until after he was done playing. Then a lot of people left, and then more people came to see Olivia Rodrigo, so we were able to get closer. I wouldn't say closer to the stage. I mean, sort of. We weren't too far away, but yeah, there was a lot of people there. It was 115,000 people. So basically double from the Harry Styles concert in Lisbon as far as the crowd.
Yeah. I remember I was wearing, if you don't know, Harry, he has like a brand, or it's not like his brand, but he owns the company. It's called Pleasing, and I was wearing a like lavender Pleasing sweatshirt. And someone in the audience walked past me and she was like, I like your shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, that's always cool when somebody acknowledges the shirt you're wearing, right?
Yeah. So it was kind of a connection to Harry, even though I was at an Olivia Rodrigo concert.
Yeah, exactly. And then Olivia Rodrigo, I've talked about this in our year-end concert review that she talked about her first concert. Would you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. Was her first concert Weezer?
Yeah, she mentioned there's a lot of young faces out in the crowd and that might be their first concert and that she remembers her first concert.
She brought them on stage to play.
Yeah, she's like, in fact, they're here tonight with me. And then we're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, who's she talking about? And then she said it was Weezer was her first concert. And so a few of the guys from Weezer came out, Rivers Cuomo, Brian Bell, and Scott Schreiner, and they played a couple songs with Olivia Rodrigo and her band. Her drummer was also, or is also, a big Weezer fan. So she played drums with these guys, and they played that song Buddy Holly and Say It Ain't So. That was a really cool surprise. I thought it was awesome. So then after that, you saw Maddox Batson, and who's Maddox Batson?
Most of the time he was 15. He's like this young country artist, kind of like a country pop, I'd say.
Yeah, did you found him on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Podcast that you watch on YouTube. But yeah, he was playing at this place called the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, Illinois, and he was opening for Lainey Wilson. And the ticket prices, I was watching them on StubHub, kept dropping and dropping. So we were able to get pit tickets for Maddox Batson. Well, for you and mom. I was up in the nosebleeds.
I mean, it was Lady Wilson, but like he was playing there. I remember there was another band that played too. They were pretty good.
Yeah, after him was the Muscadine Bloodline was the name of the band. But Maddox Batson, it was funny. Like you said, he's only 15 years old. And so he kept saying that throughout his entire set, which, what did he play, like 5 or 6 songs?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were disappointed that he didn't play some of his songs, right? That you wanted to hear.
I mean, he doesn't have too many songs, so
Yeah, I mean, does he only have the one album, maybe?
he has a lot of singles too.
Okay. So anyway, it was fun. You stayed for the first 2 bands in the pit and then we took off. But you're seeing Maddox Batson again. He's headlining, right?
Yeah.
in Chicago at this place called the Salt Shed, which I talk about all the time because it's a really cool venue and I go there a lot to see concerts. It's going to be your first time at the Salt Shed, right? He can't say he's 15 anymore, though, right? I think he just turned 16.
Yeah, he turned 16 a few months ago.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll check that out. And then you're going to go see Harry again, right?
Oh, yeah. He just announced, I'd say almost a month ago, his new album. It's called Kiss All the Time, Disco Occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
And his tour, it's the Together Together tour. And we got tickets to see him September 5th.
Yeah, it's over Labor Day weekend at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
So we're all looking forward to that. Our Harry fans, Lily's a Harry Styles super fan, and report on that one sometime in September. Anything you'd like to say before we wrap up, Lily?
No, maybe listen to the album.
Yeah. Do you like the new song, right? Aperture.
Yeah, there was a leak with another song. I haven't listened to it yet because I don't want to get spoiled, but
That guy, what's his name? The guy who leaked the song.
oh, it's a DJ. I think he's like a producer or someone.
Oh, yeah. The second single, I guess, maybe it's going to be the second single. I don't know. Although he's releasing the whole album in about a week. Again, was playing it at one of his shows in London.
Yeah.
And people recorded it on TikTok, but they were outside of the venue, right? Recording it, maybe?
I'm not sure.
Didn't seem like a very good recording, but I would imagine people inside the venue must have recorded it. But anyway, so yeah, we're looking forward to Harry's new album and going to see him live at Madison Square Garden. So thanks, Lily, for coming on Seeing Them Live. Appreciate your time.
You too.
That's a wrap for our show. I want to thank today's guests for sharing their concert stories with us. Make sure to check out our show notes at seeingthemlive.com for links to websites, photos, and other artifacts mentioned in the show. I also want to thank my producer, Doug Florzak. The theme music for the show was composed by Doug and is featured on his album, Flagstone. If you have a concert story you'd like to share on our podcast, please visit our website and click on Become a Guest in the main menu. Then fill out the form and click the Submit button. If you seem like a good fit for the show, we'll contact you via email. I guess it's time to head for the exits. We'll see you next time on Seeing Them Live.